What's going on, everybody? It is David Palmer, Leo King, and this is my show, Uncut Astrology, where I take off the mask and go deep behind the veil and give you this week's astrological forecast for the week of September the 20th through the 26th of 2017. Thanks so much for being here, and thanks for being a part of the Leo King app. Well, this is a major week, of course, because we are switching seasons and switching equinoxes, right? This is where the sun reaches its equal day and equal night, and now the sun will begin to fall literally in Libra, which means the sun is going to become weaker and at its weakest point, and this is because it now enters into longer nights and shorter days. Now, if you're on the other side of the world, it's quite opposite, but based off how Western astrology works, we base it off the northern hemisphere understanding. And so it's interesting because as we come into this equinox period, one of the weirdest transits I think that is going down is Jupiter quincunx Chiron. This has to deal with our beliefs, our outlooks, and because Jupiter is finishing up here in Libra, it's interesting that it's opposing Uranus. It's making this weird notion over to Chiron. So our belief structure is definitely going through some out of this world, crazy, out there, and even somewhat completely really weird and out there belief structures, perceptions. And I think a lot of this is this whole end of the world thing and all these ideas that the world's just going to end, or that this is some sort of revelation happening towards the end of days. And I think that this is quite the opposite. I believe that after all these eclipses that have happened, and finally this new moon that happened in Virgo this week, if we look at the astrology now with Mercury and Mars and Venus and the sun now leaving Virgo, a lot of this is about, getting our lives back in order, getting back into getting our energy into the right direction. Remember, Saturn's been stopped. Saturn's been stopped. It's not been moved for a long time. And it's been hard to kind of get our energy back into motion, but that's what Mars and Mercury and Venus are trying to do in Virgo. And now that the sun's in Libra, it could be a little bit more difficult, I'll be honest with you, because what is Libra? It is about weighing things out, and this is where Jupiter is. And there's a lot of our perception to weigh out. There's a lot that we're weighing out in our life, especially about the past, weird circumstances, and more importantly, do we have the courage, do we have the energy, do we have the strength to keep going? I think that there's a major question about strength. Do we have the energy? Do we have the passion, the drive to keep going? I think that it's being forced upon all of us, but it's easy to say, well, maybe the world's going to end, or maybe this isn't going to work. And let's remove from that whole notion of what people thinking the world's going to end this week. But I want to take more stock on the belief systems inside of ourselves, where it's like, let's just find a way to bug out of getting back into the work and the drive that it's going to take for me to get my life back to the place where I really want it to be. Sure, there's amazing, easier outlets to just say F it and get out of your life and just kind of, I don't want to say quit, but quit. Kind of like be like, gosh, there's these great things I could be doing, but you know what? I just am not sure if I want to do it anymore. And I think that we need to turn that in a different direction, because this Virgo energy will feel very unsettled if you do not continue moving forward, especially as Jupiter is getting ready to oppose Uranus coming into next week, especially that Pluto is stopped, getting ready to turn direct next week. You need to realize that next week, things are going to turn online much more. And as we come into October with Jupiter moving signs and with Saturn coming out of this 21 degrees, we'll finally move on. So don't lose hope this week. Yes, it's stressful because, God, there's so many things to weigh out, and it could feel like you just want to quit and you just want to sit and you just don't want to do it all, and it's a lot of momentum to get going, and it's a lot of energy that you're going to need to do. And Mercury is trining Pluto this week. It's asking for you, especially mentally. It's interesting to see Jupiter and Mercury both in these aspects, dealing with our perception, our mind, and how our lower and our higher minds are working in very difficult aspects, but also Mercury, it's semi-squaring Saturn, even though it's trining Pluto. I think it's tapping into this more deeper understanding of all these energies that are stopped. Saturn's not moving. I mean, it's moving forward, but it's stopped. It's taking forever to move. So Mercury, even though it's trining, Pluto, it stopped too. So it's tapping into a stopped energy. And yes, there's these desires, these accomplishments that we want to reach, these adventures that we want to go on, these places that we want to seek, yet it's our belief systems that need to be in check. It's our strength that we need to pull out of our ass somehow and continue to keep going, especially with all this Virgo energy. It's like, find a routine, do it a day at a time, and just slowly but surely it will come back online. It's interesting because when you look at all the rest of the planets as well, once you come into this weekend, right? The moon's in Scorpio as the sun comes into, there's a lot of energy as we come into this equinox that's in detriment and fall. And so it's a little bit like, all right, I got a lot to do, and am I going to be able to do it all? It's kind of the energy. And do I want to do it all? Is my passion really there? Is my energy really there? I know in my heart it is. I just know it's going to take a change of your own thought, a change of your own perception to get through this and deal with emotions deep inside of things that you don't want to do and face them, but also at the same time not own that feeling of I don't want to do this. You know, it's like accepting it, but not feeding it. Thanks so much for all your support. I truly appreciate it. Sending you my best energy. When we come into next week, major shifts going to be happening as we're going to get ready for the big quarter square of the moon, Jupiter opposed Uranus, and Pluto coming direct. We got some big stuff coming. We got Mercury square Saturn at the same time coming too. We got some major stuff coming next week. I know it's not, and I'll tell you the truth. We've definitely got a couple weeks here of some intense energy to try and get it all moving forward again. But believe me when I say this, this is not the end of the world. We are still continuing forward, and we will get forward, and you will push through, even though it feels like we won't. I've seen periods like this. It's ending soon. Anyway, I'm sending you my best energy. Hope to see you out in Los Angeles. LeoKingEvents.com to get your ticket to my awesome event in November. They're selling fast. Payment plans available. Payment plans end soon, so please jump on it if you can. Thanks so much, and I will see you next week.